so we're talking about Titans Season 2, Episode 2 in this video. Now, if you see this scratch right here, it's because I was shooting my bow and arrow, and sometimes I get those arrows and the feathers a little bit close to my cheek in the wrong position, and I pay a nice little price for that. But it's super fun. You should do it. You should pick up archery. Now, what did I think of this? Well, I'm going to give a grade at the end. As always, we go from A to F, A plus to F. Before we get into it, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It does help the channel grow. So, without further ado, let's talk about it. Actually, I liked this episode a whole lot more than I liked episode 1. So we got that going for us. So if you watched my review on episode 1, you'll know where I put that letter grade, and if I liked this one a little bit more than I liked that one, then we're probably gonna have a higher grade, but more than likely. Now, if you didn't watch it, go back and watch the premiere review. Now, we are gonna talk about spoilers. I still really like what they're doing with Dick Grayson and the character development that they're doing with that. My favorite thing in this show, which I kind of saw coming, but I kind of didn't see coming. I anticipated that I was gonna like Hawk and Dove. One, because I'm a big Alan Ritchson fan, and I like him in pretty much everything he's been in, and he just crushes it as Hank Haw. And Dove does a good job too. She's less monotone in this, which I deeply appreciated, and I really liked it. They're talking about drugs and addiction, and Dove, or Dawn, she can't give up the cape. She can't stop trying to be a superhero, and she paid a pretty heavy price in season 1. She was in a coma for like a month, and I think it was actually confirmed that it was a month by Hank, and Hank gave it up because he mentioned that his luck had run out. That they were fighting crime to deal with pain that they had to deal with growing up, and I think Hank had some sexual assault stuff happen to him when he was in high school, so dealing with that. And so they picked up the cape, Crusader life, to deal with that. Now, when Dove got hurt, he basically realized that if he wanted any sort of normal life with her, kids, marriage, family, future, and growing old, that they would have to hang up the capes, otherwise one of them was going to die eventually. And so he hung up the cape first and made a deal with Dove, apparently, to give up the cape as well, but she is having a tougher time doing that. And I hate ultimatums, so I don't like the fact that they went the ultimatum route with Hank's verbiage and his writing behind the character, but I understand where he's coming from. I'm not a big ultimatum guy. If someone's having a tough time getting on board with something, then it's more dialogue that needs to happen, not giving them a choice between being with that person or, that person dipping out because they can't make the change yet. She didn't leave him when he was dealing with drug addictions. She didn't give him an ultimatum saying you either get clean or I'm gone. Maybe she did, but it's just not on camera. And so it seems unfair, in my opinion. But I really like the conversations. He's a great actor. Everything that he says, the emotions behind it, it's believable, and I really appreciate it. Everything that Dick Grayson says and does, it's relatively believable, and I appreciate it. Still not on board with Rachel. I'm not even going to throw her picture up on here or try to show some of the problems I had in this episode with her character. It's just awful. She's just not a good actress, or the writing that they're giving her is just terrible, or a combination of both. But I can't believe anything that she says. Everything that she has on her facial expressions is just ridiculous and doesn't make a lot of sense. It doesn't come across believable. It doesn't translate correctly, in my opinion. And it's going to be the same for Wonder Girl. And this is why I have a problem with Wonder Girl. Take a look.
So what is the deal with you and Shimmer anyway?
The deal?
Yeah, why are you so desperate to take her down?
Well, first, her name is Shimmer. That's just annoying.
Now, if you can sit there and honestly tell me that is good dialogue, we have nothing to discuss, because that is not good dialogue. That's awful dialogue. If you are a superhero and you're taking down a bad guy because their name is bad, it's awful. It's awful. Now, they kind of allude to the fact that she she's okay with killing people for money as long as something pays. But we have no backstory on this villain. It is a bad name, but we have no backstory, no cause, no reasons really. We don't have a case file open. We don't have Wonder Girl or Starfire saying, well, she murdered 3 people and we're taking her down because of this. We got nothing. We've just been sitting in a van watching them talk about nonsense and listening to bad music, and the one opportunity that they have to discuss why they're being superheroes, that's the best Wonder Girl can come up with. It's just bad writing. It's so bad, and I'm tired of watching it. I want them to come out with something that's good. If you can hop on YouTube and watch things like this that can communicate character development and reasoning behind action better, and they can articulate that better than the writers can, who are being paid millions of dollars a year, that's a big problem. And I don't understand it. It frustrates me. And I had a big problem with that. And then the other thing, oh goodness. The other thing I had a big problem with, Rose Wilson. First of all, there's only so many silver-haired, one-eyed 14-year-olds running around the city. So you're not going to get away for very long. Hate to break it to you, cat's out of the bag. Your look kind of gives you away, which is another reason why I don't understand why most of the females in this show are going the colored hair route. They kind of dumbed down the red hair thing with Starfire a little bit, but everybody else, for the most part, are red, purple, bluish, silverish thing. And it just doesn't make a lot of sense when you're trying to blend in. If you have a superhero costume on, and then you go to the store the very next day, and you're not wearing your costume, and somebody doesn't go, hey, you have the same hairstyle as so-and-so. That superhero that was just in here a little bit ago? Oh, no, that was me. Well, she only had one eye, too. You sure that's not you? It's kind of obvious. You know what I mean? So I feel like that kind of takes away from the realism of the character a little bit. And then this fight scene, my good Lord, is it terrible. So watch this clip and let's tear it apart together. Okay, the fight scene's coming. We do this weird, ridiculous dive and then pause. What is this guy doing? He's doing nothing. He's just standing there. None of this makes sense. This isn't even protocol for any sort of fight. And then we pause again. Why are there 3 people on this girl who's 14 and all these other cops either don't exist and don't have partners, or, what is this guy doing? He's being beat up by a 14-year-old and you've never been punched before? You're the worst cop I've ever seen. You're supposed to go up against full-grown men and you're getting punched once? So we have more. We're moving through this thing. Keep going. I don't know where they came from. They don't even have cop cars. Did they run up this whole thing? And we jump. We're talking about collusion, so it must be some sort of thing. They're talking about collusion, so it must be some sort of nod to the president or something. And we're awake. What's gonna happen? I'm sure everyone's frightened. Oh wait, no. Look at this guy. Who taught these people face acting? This girl just jumped into your room from the story above. 7 stories. You don't have anything to say? This doesn't make any sense. You see what I mean? Did you see those face acting that happened with those lawyers? Was I the only one that was watching that? Was I the only one that was frustrated with the fact that no cop is acting like a cop in this scene? Am I the only one that's frustrated that season 1 of Arrow on the CW did this 10 times better with a third of the budget? Now, you might say, well, their fighting is really bad now, and I would be inclined to agree with you. I agree, it's terrible, but that doesn't justify giving a bigger budget to a different show and then making the fight scenes awful. You see what I mean? You see the problems I'm having with this show so far? Now, a lot of the things that I like outweigh the negatives, okay? I'm just going to say that out loud. I like a lot of the positives, and it definitely keeps me watching. I'm gonna watch episode 3 because enough of the suspense is there. I wanna see what people thought once Jason Todd goes and tells Dick, hey, Rose Wilson is Slade Wilson's daughter, and I guarantee you Dick Grayson knows who Deathstroke is. If Jason Todd knows who Deathstroke is and he thinks it's a pretty fucking big deal, Dick's gonna definitely think it's a pretty fucking big deal. So I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see Slade come out of the shadows and really, tear shit up. And so I'm excited for those things, and it's keeping me engaged. But good Lord, they got to fix some of these problems. I hope it gets better. So far, it's not getting any better, but Jesus. So let's give an overall grade for the episode. Overall, I really liked some of the communication and some of the character development with some of the main characters, that being Dick Grayson. I actually like Jason Todd in this. The beginning fight scene where he's blindfolded kind of bothered me a little bit because he got pissed that he got hit in the head when he told Guard to try to hit him in the head. Doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's his character, and they're staying true to it, and I appreciate it. So I actually liked him in this episode. I liked the fight scene stuff there. I love that gym. Oh man, I love that gym. And then I really want to see Slade. Really badly. But I hated the middle part. I didn't like the Rose Wilson fight scene. I didn't like some of her acting. Some of the fine details of some of these younger actors and actresses just aren't there yet. And I think that's the thing I'm getting hooked up on. I'm having a tough time finding their acting believable because some of the details just aren't there yet. They just either haven't matured into the type of acting that they need to be doing for this role, or it's just never going to be there. But they need to step up the game a little bit. And overall, I think I'm going to give the Titans Season 2, Episode 2, a letter grade of a B-. So we have a B- and a C- from the earlier episode. So we're getting there. So by the end of this season, hopefully we're at an A+, right? Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, comment below. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear you argue with my points and challenge my beliefs on the episode because it's the only way that I grow and see things differently as well. So, comment below. I'll see you in the next one. And as always, you can check out other videos. We're going for 10,000 subscribers. Later!